You're listening to Real Talk Texas on 570 KLIF News and Information. Now, live in studio, your host, local real estate expert Steve Hakes.
Welcome to Real Talk Texas. I'm your host, Steve Hakes, and every week we have the pleasure of bringing in experts from the Metroplex here that are local, that are helping out our listeners, and people that are giving real advice or real help to you, the listener out there, and that's what we do here on Real Talk Texas. We try to bring in real experts in different areas like legal or real estate or could be financial advice, those type of things. That's what we talk about here on the show. I'm trying to provide resources for our listeners that have been vetted out, that really do a great job, and that way if you need someone, you can reach out to us at realtalktexas.com. That's realtalktexas.com, and you can see our list of experts there. You can listen to older shows. We've got our producer, Andrew Torres. He'll put the shows up on our website so you can listen to everything there if you need to find someone that's an expert in a field that you really are needing help with right now. And so recently we've talked a lot about the real estate market and how it's really booming. Houses are coming on and they're getting multiple offers if they are fixed up and if they are ready, or showroom ready as we call it. Those homes are getting offers above list price and they're selling quickly. So how do you do that? I mean, my question is, I lived in my house 15 years and the last thing I really wanted to do was remodel, and it was really apparent because my house was really dated when I finally sold it, and I took a haircut on the house because I didn't want to go through the hassle of remodel, and I didn't really know who to call for remodeling and things like that. And that was prior to starting this show. And the benefit of this show is I've been introduced to some really great people that know what they're doing, that can help out sellers of their homes, people that are homeowners that maybe want to just upgrade their house that they're in. Really wish I would have met these gentlemen before. We've got a great resource here. It's Premier Real Estate Solutions. I've got David Rosenbaum. He's one of the partners here. His other partner, Phil Loesch, we tried to get him on the line today, but he's in California at Disney World, and the connection really didn't work so great. So David's going to carry the ball for us today, and we'll let Phil enjoy his vacation with his family. But I had Phil on my show before, and if you're a regular listener, you might have heard him with Nick Bristow of Bristow Real Estate Solutions, I think is his company. But anyway, he was on because he was the guy that Nick really leaned on to come in when they were fixing and flipping a house. He would come in and give the estimate, give the design, hey, yeah, you should add a bathroom here, or you can move this wall, you can't move that. Phil was the guy that does that, and he does hundreds of homes in the Metroplex every year, and he's got a great company there. And David Rosenbaum, his partner, they've kind of expanded that a little more. They're even getting into the fact that they'll come in, and we'll talk about it later in the show, but they'll actually come in and they will, if you've got a situation, a certain, maybe you've inherited a home and you don't know what to do with it, they'll come in and buy it for cash. They'll reposition the asset and get it sold and moved on so the neighborhood's kept intact. So there's a lot of great things that they do there. They've got a special offer that we're going to talk about a little later in the show, and so you want to stay tuned, and you're gonna get a special deal from Premier Real Estate Solutions later in the show, so you have to stay tuned. But I'd like to welcome David Rosenbaum to the studio today. Welcome, David.
How are you doing this morning?
We're doing great, and so it's Sunday at noon. I'm sure you guys are driving around and maybe you're looking at houses. Maybe you're looking at some homes that maybe they're dated. Maybe they're outdated, and you're thinking to yourself, well, I like the house, but I really would like it to have a different kitchen, different bathroom, things like that. This is where you would bring in Premier Real Estate Solutions. It's just one of the times that you were bringing them in, right, David?
Correct.
So you're going to, if someone's wanting to buy a house and they say, well, how much would it cost to get me up and running? Do you guys charge a fee to go out to this house, and how do you work with people?
Really what we do is, the first thing you want to do is when you get looking at houses, you want to kind of have a budget in mind of what you want to spend in the house, whether it's everything from the smallest job to the largest job. But if you're doing a kitchen remodel, let's say, you'll want to call us up. We do not charge to come out to do an estimate for you. We'll come out to the house. We'll kind of give you our opinions on things that we think are happening in the marketplace, and as far as what people are looking for nowadays. I think it's one of the things we pride ourselves on is the design aspect you mentioned with Phil and myself coming in there. We know what people are buying now. We know what people are looking for. We work closely with real estate agents that can help you as well. We'll come out there, look at the property for you, give our input to the homeowners, and at that point, walk you through the process. Again, there's no fees to do that. Certain times we'll do a drawing for you and let you look at a small drawing of what you're looking to get done. And I think one of the advantages of using us, you'll be able to see, as our logo states, from concept to completion, you'll see from the materials and labor will be broken down separately. And I think it's an important feature when you're looking at an estimate is to know exactly what you're paying for and what you're getting for what we do. So
that's full disclosure, and I think a lot of the remodel people don't do that. They just come in and say, oh, okay, we'll do it for $5,000 or $10,000, and they don't really break it down for you. And I guess, I personally would like to see what's the cost going in. I want my contractor to make money. That's fine, but it's good to have full disclosure.
Absolutely. And that is important because, we like to have that transparency, as they talk about nowadays, is letting people see exactly what they're paying for, what they get. We're not hiding anything. We try and give you the specific deadlines and that we try and hit. Nothing's perfect in this world, but I think if we're upfront and open and honest with our estimates, by doing that, I think it sets us a little bit ahead of everybody else that's out. So
that's great. And if you're listening out there and you're thinking about remodeling or rehabbing your property, you're going to want to stay tuned because David's going to have a special offer for the first 10 listeners that contact us on the show. And so we'll talk about that in our next segment. We've got today in the studio, you're listening to Real Talk Texas. I'm your host, Steve Hakes. And we've got David Rosenbaum of Premier Real Estate Solutions. And they're a great solution for a lot of different areas of the real estate transaction. We're going to kind of break that down in the future segments we're going to talk about today. So you're going to stay tuned. And if you're needing financing on that, of course, who's your finance guy? Steve Hakes right here at Affiliated Bank. We're going to talk about how we help David and his firm and his clients finance those rehabs or the remodeling that happen, because sometimes those get into pretty high dollars, and it's not just a $500 moving of a fan. It may cost, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000, and it's a lot of times with the low interest rates we have today, it makes a lot of sense just to finance that, and that way you keep your cash flow available for you. So stay tuned. We'll be back in the next segment. You're listening to Real Talk Texas on KLIF AM 570, News and Information.